everyone, this is the new iPhone 17 Pro Max and today I'm putting the camera to the test at a portrait photo shoot. We're going to be breaking down everything you need to know for both photography and video. So I normally use mirrorless cameras for my portrait photography, but I've been using iPhones in my workflow for years. So I have the 16 Pro Max here and we're going to take some comparison photos to see if the upgrade for the camera is worth it. I have a heap of details to dive into about the 17 Pro, so let's get into it. During this photo shoot, we're going to be doing screen recording, shooting in RAW, taking hundreds and hundreds of photos. So we're also going to do a battery test throughout this video and see what it ends up on at the end of the photo shoot. This looks so cool here. I'm obsessed with this location. Wow. Before we start, I want to let you know that I bought this phone myself and spent my own money to create this video and bring you this review. The 17 Pro Max has three 48 megapixel cameras, including ultra-wide, standard, and telephoto. Oh my gosh, this looks beautiful. We're starting off with the 1x camera. I'm going to be taking photos in different lighting scenarios for each of these tests so you can get a good idea of what this phone camera is capable of and where it falls a bit short. I'll be showing you unedited 100% crop so you can see the true detail, and then my edited versions using my dual set preset pack, which is linked down below if you want it. This 1x camera is the full frame focal length equivalent of 24mm, which I find is a great standard focal length to work with for everyday photo and video. The photos the 17 produces are nice and sharp, there is quite a lot of clarity, and the colors look great straight out of camera. I find this lens can handle most lighting situations really well. As usual, the more light you're working with, the clearer and better the photos are going to look. It seems like the sharpening applied to JPEGs has been toned down a little with this version, and I also have to say the RAW files look absolutely beautiful. And make sure you keep an eye because I have labeled throughout this video which photos are RAW and which ones are the JPEGs. Before the sun goes away, let's get one with the sun behind you as well. If you stand just here, get a bit of like a halo of light behind you. You can see so much detail in these RAW photos. The clarity level is really fine. I would prefer if the JPEGs were like this as well, and you can choose to apply sharpening after if it needs it. These RAWs look so great. Let me know if you shoot in RAW mode on your phone often or not. Okay, I'm going to take some comparison photos with the 16, so I'll get them up side by side. The comparison photos are really interesting because in the JPEG, I prefer the 16 as it has a finer sharpness compared to the 17. The 16 only makes use of the full 48 megapixel sensor if you shoot in RAW, otherwise the files are 24 megapixels. That's why it is smaller and it looks more detailed compared to the 17. I do really appreciate the new photo menu where you can choose what size, frame rate, and other settings you're shooting with. And also, that means that you can shoot with 48 megapixels in JPEG mode. So I'm going to switch over to the 2x lens now. Moving on to 2x, which is the full frame equivalent of 48mm and technically is not an optical zoom. These are so pretty. It's so like jungly and lush. It's actually cropping into the 1x sensor, so you get a 12 megapixel image instead of 48. It's decent, but not as sharp, so I personally tend to avoid using it for anything important. In the bright sunlight, you can see that increasing quality and detail in these 2x photos. The colors are actually so pretty. They're like really vibrant. Finally, we have two comparison shots to take a look at. Here, the camera upgrade is so much clearer. The 16 has more compression, so keep an eye on her skin and also the hair when looking at both photos. The 17 is a clear winner here. The big update for this iPhone 17 Pro is the selfie camera, which now has a square sensor. What that means is you can now shoot in either horizontal or vertical orientation without having to turn your phone, though for some reason you can't take a square photo. The selfie cam now features an 18 megapixel sensor, center stage, which automatically detects if there's more people in your selfie and extends the frame if needed. You can switch this off if you want, and it has ultra stabilized video. I did notice that the auto framing tends to work almost half the time, so sometimes Dan will poke his head in and it won't change, and then he'll do it again and it will make the frame wider, so it's a little bit hit and miss. The 17 selfie camera is good quality, but I still prefer using the back 0.5x camera when I can as it's just wider. So I'm using the wide angle camera for this one. It looks like I'm really close, but I've got your whole full body in the shot. This 48 megapixel camera gives you the focal length equivalent of 14mm, and it's honestly my most used camera over the past year or so. While we test out ultrawide, let's talk about the screen because the 17 Pro has had a bump up in brightness. It is now 3000 nits compared to the 2000 nits of the 16 Pro, and I could actually notice this difference out on location. I use my phone a lot outdoors when I'm traveling and doing photo photo shoots, so I appreciate being able to see the screen a little easier in these situations. So I'm going to test out the 4x camera here. We are in a pretty shady spot, so I'm interested to see how it holds up. And we'll move into the sun afterwards as well. But right here on the back of the screen, it looks beautiful. There's so much detail, and I love that you can see the water right in the background too. Next up, let's use the telephoto lens, which finally has been upgraded from 12 megapixels last year to 48 megapixels in the 17 Pro, which I am super happy to see. Something else I'm happy with is that we've gone to 4x telephoto. I've always felt like 3x was the sweet spot, and with the 16 Pro, I kept having to use 2x because 5 was just way too zoomed in. So I'm really glad that Apple scaled back to 4x as it feels more usable again. To be honest, while we did get some sharp 4x photos with brighter light, a lot of the time my shots look quite soft. I think this jump to 48 megapixels means we need a bigger jump in glass quality to be able to keep up. You'll see in a moment when we take a look at video though that the 4x camera looks amazing in 4K ProRes, so I'm surprised it was struggling in stills mode. Let me know what you think of the quality. So I'm going to try and frame some 8x shots the same as the 4x so we can look at them side by side. So we do have the sun coming out now, so we've got plenty of light to work with here, so it should look sharp. Just like 2x, 8x crops into the 48 megapixel sensor to give you a 12 megapixel image at the focal length equivalent of 200 millimeters. Okay, so I'm going to get a comparison shot here with the 16. We have a bit more light on Sienna's face right here. So I also wouldn't use 8x to capture anything important. I'd only use it if I needed some reach. So we're going to shoot at 8x now. So I'm going to start off with some JPEGs first. And then I'll get a bit more of your body in the shot too, so I'll move right back. So this one's cropping like just above your knees. So while we're in this location, I want to take one photo standing in the same spot at each of the main cameras that we can get. So I'm going to start off here with 0.5x, and then we'll go into 1x, which is 24 millimeters. Then we have 2x, 4x, and 8x. Just so you can see the whole focal range of this phone. So I'm gonna get video now. I'm filming in 4K 60p first, just with the standard camera before we get into ProRes. I'm going to be using all the cameras to record sample footage in standard profile and ProRes in Apple Log 2 and HDR. In 4K, you can record up to 120 FPS with the main camera and up to 60 FPS with the ultrawide and telephoto. In ProRes, you can record up to 4K 120 FPS in any camera. I'm using my own custom Rec 709 conversion preset on all these shots you're watching. I'll leave my Premiere Pro preset linked down below if you want it for yourself. This is the conversion LUT that I use for all my YouTube videos, including the one you're watching right now. If you choose to record in ProRes, you cannot record this internally to the iPhone. You need to use an external SSD, so I'll leave the one I'm using here in the description below. ProRes video has a big quality jump over standard recording. It's super crisp and detailed, and this is with very minimal post-processing. I basically applied my Rec 709 LUT, adjusted the exposure and white balance a little bit, and called it a day. As I mentioned earlier, here you can really see the 4x camera shine. It looks so much clearer and sharper than it did for photo. I do like that Apple uses optical stabilization in their Pro iPhones. I made sure to move around quite a bit while recording so you can see the movement of the footage. It looks really stable but also natural. Sometimes phone IBIS can be a bit too strong and you'll see the footage jolt, but that's not happening here, which is great. Action mode in 8x video is really incredible. And I have to get right back. Oh my gosh, okay. Wow. And that's barely full body. So let's try it out. I'm gonna film in 8x, and I'm gonna walk. Now I've switched action mode on, and I'm at 8x again, and I'm just gonna walk to the side. I am trying to keep it steady, but it's very shaky. All right, I'm gonna do that again. That actually looked really good. I'm shocked. The final video quality is not that high and also produces a 2.8K file, but the level of stabilization is really amazing. It is time to do some video tests. So right now I'm filming with the Selfie camera in 4K 60p. I've picked a spot with dappled lighting just so we can see how it handles exposure as the light comes in and out of the shade as I'm walking. And I'm also walking, so you can check out the stabilization of these shots as well. Something else you can do, since we have the square sensor of the Selfie camera, is actually film in vertical mode, but I've got the phone, I'm holding it horizontally. So I'll film this and we'll see what the footage looks like, if there's any quality difference between horizontal and vertical. But this is pretty cool because it's nice and comfortable holding the camera here horizontally actually. Next up, I'm filming with the 1x rear camera. So this one is a little bit more cropped in than I would like for filming this way. I think the Selfie camera is that little bit wider, so it's better for a vlogging shot. But I will walk with this one so we can see the stabilization, you can check out the quality and also see the exposure because we do have the light coming in through the trees here. And I also want to do a microphone test. So far you've been listening to my lav mic. Now, right as the wind picks up, I'm going to switch over to the microphone of the iPhone. It does have some noise reduction switched on as well, so we'll see what my voice sounds like, if you can hear that wind. Last but not least, we have the rear 0.5x camera, and you're listening to the iPhone microphone again because the wind has died down, so I think this will be a nice test for the mic and a good comparison to the last shot. And yeah, we'll check out what the stabilization looks like. This is actually the camera that I use to film with the most, so I'm really interested to see what it looks like, and I'll do a little lighting spin here. So we spent about 1 hour taking a lot of photos, a lot of raw photos and screen recording at the same time and doing ProRes video with an external hard drive plugged in. And after 1 hour, my battery is at 63%. So I think that's pretty impressive for some pretty heavy use. The phone has been pretty hot the entire time. That is all I have for today's review. Let me know which ones were your favorite photos in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I'll see you all next time. Bye.